Update. I've only been married a month, and I just found out my husband's been having an affair with my sister. When I first learned the truth, I was completely stunned. We had barely begun our lives together as husband and wife. Just a month in. Turns out the affair didn't start recently either. He's been involved with my sister since before we even got engaged last November. And now? My sister is 8 months pregnant. It wasn't me who uncovered the truth, it was her husband. He found out about the affair and is now filing for divorce. Following advice from his aunt, who's a solicitor, he got a paternity test to confirm whether their 1.5-year-old son is actually his. The real kicker? My sister still doesn't know if her baby belongs to her husband or to mine. As for me, I've already decided. I'm getting a divorce. My husband is pleading for counseling and wants to work things out, but that's not happening. I'm a barrister, so thankfully, finding legal representation won't be an issue. Legally speaking, adultery only matters when explaining why a marriage failed. It doesn't really affect how the assets are divided. But at least I won't be obligated to pay him any kind of support since we were only married for a month before I packed up and left. As for my sister, I'll never speak to her again. I don't care how many times she says she's sorry or begs me to forgive her. It's never happening. And the same goes for my husband. He can apologize all he wants and cry about wanting to fix things, but I'm done. I don't trust a word that comes out of either of their mouths. Before I share what happened 10 months later, I want to highlight some of the top comments I saw back then. One person said, "I'm so sorry they betrayed you. I wouldn't speak to her again either." Another added, "It's wild how many stories pop up about siblings hooking up with each other's partners. Where I'm from, that's practically unheard of. Maybe people are just better at hiding it. I really don't know. Where I come from, we see our siblings' partners as family, as extensions of our own brothers or sisters. Just the idea of seeing my sister's partner as someone to sleep with makes me sick to my stomach. Honestly, I'd go to war for my sister. The thought of ever putting her through something this devastating? I can't even wrap my head around it. I genuinely don't get it. Do people not love their siblings anymore? My sister's always felt more like my own kid than just a sibling. I know it's not my place to judge other people's lives, but seriously, what the hell? What kind of upbringing leads to this? And why does it seem to happen so often? Stuff like this makes me grateful I'm an only child. That level of betrayal? It's unforgivable. Good riddance, honestly. Her husband, soon to be your ex-brother-in-law, is finally getting rid of that toxic mess of a wife. And you? You're about to ditch a festering infection of a husband. Nature has a way of taking care of parasites like them. Eventually they'll fall away from your lives like dead weight. That fake romance they're clinging to, built on nothing but selfishness and lust, it'll rot just like everything else they touch. Let them wallow in the cesspool they created, lying to everyone and themselves. People like that always seem to find each other, like maggots squirming around with roaches in the dark. Legally speaking, sure, you might face limits on what you can claim, but just the threat of making their affair public, exposing them for what they did, might be enough to push your husband to offer you more than he's technically obligated to. If that doesn't work out, don't hold back. Go nuclear, let everyone in your world know exactly who they are and what they did. Both of them deserve to be dragged. Wishing you all the strength you need. Please keep us posted on how everything turns out. Now here's what happened next. Last June, everything fell apart. I found out my husband had been cheating on me with my sister. At the time, we'd only been married for a month. What made it worse was learning the affair had started before we even got engaged. It was actually my sister's husband who uncovered the truth. When he did, my sister was already about 8 months pregnant with a baby girl. And the real punch to the gut? That baby turned out to be my ex-husband's. Apparently, he completely lost it when he found out he was the father, because he never wanted kids in the first place. Funny enough, that's how we met. Through an online dating group specifically for people who didn't want children or didn't want to date anyone who already had them. That's what we had in common. After the affair came to light, both my sister and my ex-husband came crawling back, asking for forgiveness. My sister claimed she couldn't help it, that she'd fallen in love with him. And my ex? He basically shrugged it off, saying he couldn't be held accountable for what happened. I was floored. They actually believed what they did could be forgiven, like I was just supposed to move on and forget it. Neither of them wanted their marriages to end. My ex didn't want to let me go, and my sister didn't want to lose her husband either. But it was too late. I'm divorced now. Luckily, being a barrister, what most people outside of England call a lawyer, I already had connections with some of the best solicitors in the business. That made the whole process smoother. Since I ended the marriage within a month and had already moved out, I didn't owe him any kind of financial support. The divorce was finalized pretty quickly. But things haven't gone so easily for my sister and her soon-to-be ex-husband. They've been married a lot longer, they own property together, and they had a child. When the affair was exposed, their son was just 17 months old. Because my sister earns more than he does, she might actually have to pay spousal support, and possibly child support too. Their divorce is still dragging on. I haven't spoken to my former brother-in-law since I walked away from my marriage, but I really do feel for him. He was absolutely crushed. First, finding out about the betrayal and then learning that the baby wasn't his? That's a lot for anyone to take. He didn't deserve any of that. People love to say, just get over it when someone cheats. But let me tell you, those people have no clue what they're talking about. That kind of pain? It's not just emotional. It hits you physically. Even now, I'm still grieving. Still broken over it all. I never knew something could hurt this much. I've decided to start seeing a counselor, but honestly, it still doesn't feel like enough. Since I walked out of our apartment, I haven't seen or spoken a single word to my ex-husband. All our communication during the divorce was handled through our lawyers. As far as I'm concerned, he no longer exists. Same goes for my sister. I haven't had any contact with her since shortly after I left him, and I plan to keep it that way. She's dead to me. I don't know if I'll ever truly recover from this. The only thing that's kept me somewhat grounded is the support I've received from my parents, my other sister, and the rest of my family. They've completely cut ties with my sister, the one who betrayed me, and they've stood firmly by my side. Anyone who dares to suggest I should forgive her, or worse, tries to choose her over me, is immediately cut out of my life. No second chances. I don't want updates. I don't want gossip. I don't want to hear a single word about either of them ever again. From what I gathered during the divorce, through something my ex's solicitor mentioned, it sounds like he and my sister plan to get married once her divorce is finalized. That was the last I heard, and I've made sure it stays that way. I don't let my mind wander to them. I do my best not to even think about them at all. But it's hard because those two were once among the people I loved the most. And what they did, it wrecked me in a way I don't think I'll ever fully recover from. They were selfish. They tore me apart. And when people say things like, you need to get over it, or you should forgive and move on, I just shake my head. They have no idea what this kind of betrayal feels like. Forgive them? Not a chance. Especially knowing now that they've been sleeping together long before the wedding. He stood there at the altar, making vows to me while she stood nearby, probably in the wedding party, carrying his child. It's hard to even describe that level of betrayal. The selfishness. The arrogance. It's unreal. But of course, some people still cling to that tired old excuse, you can't help who you fall in love with. Sure, you might not be able to control attraction. But you sure as hell can control your actions. And they made every wrong choice. So thank you for listening and for your support. My former brother-in-law and I were both doing the only thing we can, walking away from the mess and choosing peace over chaos. And yeah, we're absolutely making the right call. Your ex and your ex-sister? Yeah, they're both selfish and downright awful. The pain they caused doesn't just stop with you, it rippled through a lot of lives. Whatever you do, put your peace and mental well-being first. I hate that they put you through all that. Really, I do. And if I'm being honest, you should seriously consider cutting off anyone who tries to tell you to just forgive and forget. You don't owe them that, not now, not ever. Maybe one day, for your own peace of mind, you'll think about forgiveness, not for their sake, but to lighten the emotional load you've been carrying. But don't let anyone push you into forgiving either of them before you're ready. That's your call. I'm rooting for you truly. If I had to bet, I'd say the only reason your sister is tying the knot with your ex is because she's got nobody else left, especially after getting cut off by the rest of the family. This whole thing smells like a relationship built out of desperation, not love. And let's be real, there's probably a mountain of resentment between them. They've got no one to blame for the mess they made but each other. As for your ex who swore up and down he didn't want kids, well, karma finally showed up. I do feel bad for the child in all this. That little one didn't ask to be born into a storm of bitterness. I just hope she grows up in a home where she's loved, not resented. I remember one of the first stories I ever came across on Reddit when I was still figuring the place out. It was about this guy whose wife cheated on him with his brother, ended up pregnant, and then left him. They got divorced, and the cheaters eventually got married. At first, the guy's family backed him all the way. But then the baby came, time passed, and the parents pulled the old but the baby is innocent card. They pressured him to show up to holidays and family trips where his ex and his brother, who both stabbed him in the back, would be. He refused. Chose his dignity over their guilt trip. I bring that up because there's a real chance your family might end up doing the same. Once your sister and your ex are officially married, your folks may start trying to smooth things over. They'll ask you to rise above, to be the bigger person. They might even toss around some stuff about an innocent child. Be prepared for that. Seriously. And speaking of siblings, I've got a story for you next. It's called I Don't Miss My Sister and Everyone Thinks I'm Mourning. My sister died about a year ago. A drunk driver hit her in the middle of the night. It was sudden. She was gone on impact. She was only 24. People always said she was stunning, kind-hearted, everyone's favorite. To them, she was the golden child, the family's little angel. At her funeral, I stood up and gave a eulogy. Folks told me it touched them. They came up to hug me, some sobbed on my shoulder, told me how strong and brave I was for speaking. But here's what I've never said out loud: I don't miss her. I'm not even sad. Honestly, I feel like I can finally breathe. Like I've been let out of a cage. My sister made growing up miserable for me. No one ever noticed, not my parents, not her friends, not even the teachers who fawned over her. She used her sweet image like a shield or a sword, depending on the day. But when it was just the two of us, she tore me down constantly. Mocked the way I looked, called me dumb, said I was weird, a burden nobody wanted around. One time, she got me to open up about my biggest fear, said she just wanted to know me better. Then later, she threw it in my face in front of people I liked, just to humiliate me. If I ever cried, she'd laugh. If I tried to speak up, she said I was just being too sensitive. She used to call me the backup kid, like I was just a spare. Once she joked that if I died before her, she'd wear red to my funeral because black was too dull for such a boring person like me. I tried once, just once, to tell someone what she was really like. They brushed it off. Said she was just teasing, that she adored me. That I was making it up. So I kept quiet. Let the lie grow. Let everyone keep worshipping her. And now she's gone, and I play along. I act like I'm heartbroken, like her death shattered me. But the truth is, I sleep better now. I feel lighter. There's this stillness in my life that I never had when she was around. And yeah, part of me hates that I feel this way. But no part of me wishes she was still alive. If I'm being honest, I never did. You're not a terrible person for not grieving someone who mistreated you. Not even close. There's this weird thing in Western culture, like once someone dies, we're not allowed to speak honestly about who they were. Suddenly everyone becomes a saint. But that's just nonsense. Some people were awful while they were here. Death doesn't magically rewrite that. Some people leave this world and things genuinely get better, maybe for everyone, maybe just for certain people. I don't know if your sister was cruel to everyone or if she only targeted you. But either way, it's okay to admit that your life has improved since she passed. That kind of truth won't make sense to everyone though. So when people bring her up, my advice? Steer the conversation somewhere else. You don't owe anyone your grief or the performance of it. I completely understand. It's perfectly fine to deflect. You don't have to engage when her name comes up, even if it's your parents doing the talking. If they keep pushing, you can simply say, we all process things differently, and I just don't feel like discussing it. Let folks think whatever they want to think, and let that be their problem, not yours. Sending you a hug. Part of me hopes you wore red lipstick when you delivered that eulogy. No one else would catch the meaning, but you'd know. I wore red nail polish to mine. Now here's the last story I wanted to share. Keeping my sister's secret is slowly tearing me apart, and now she's twisting everything, turning the whole family against me. It started a little over a year ago. My sisters and I decided to do one of those DNA kits just for fun. You know, the ancestry tests everyone seems to try at some point. And boom, turns out one of us has a different dad. The sister it impacted, let's call her Brooke, was completely blindsided. We all were, honestly. Brooke asked us not to say anything to our parents, and we agreed. At the time, it felt like the kind and respectful thing to do. But ever since, it's felt like I've been carrying a secret that doesn't belong to me. Every time I sit with my parents and they start reminiscing about the past, I feel like I'm lying to their faces. We sit there, smiling, laughing at old stories, all while pretending things are still the same. But they're not. It's not just me feeling it either. My other sisters carry the same guilt, and we're all reaching a point where we just want to let the truth out. None of us, me or our other sisters, care that Brooke has a different biological dad. That hasn't changed how we see her. She's still our sister in every way that matters. What's hard is the lying. We hate having to keep this secret from our parents. But no one dares bring it up because Brooke runs the show with her mood swings. That's just how it's always been. Brooke's always had this quiet, controlling streak. She's the one who bullies without ever raising her voice. She pushes her way through any situation, and most of the time, no one pushes back because it's easier not to. What used to be choose your battles has turned into don't bother. Even our parents walk on eggshells around her. She's 30 now. She's got a degree, but she doesn't work. Lives at home rent-free. Doesn't date. Barely has a life outside of us, her sisters. And still, somehow, she acts like she's in charge, especially when it comes to relationships. She's not just wary of men. She despises them. I'm not talking about being cautious or protective. I mean full-on hostility. She trashes every boyfriend or husband the moment she hears about them, before she's even met the guy. And when she does meet him, she's cold, nasty, and dismissive. Every time one of us starts seeing someone, we brace ourselves. It's like we have to defend our partner from the get-go. We either have to justify every little thing they do or get ready for Brooke's judgment, like our love life is something she needs to sign off on. It's draining. Absolutely exhausting. And just so you get the full picture, both my husband and I deal with chronic illnesses. As a couple, my husband and I are really careful about how we manage our energy. We don't say yes to every single family event. We show up when we can, but only if it won't wipe us out for days afterward. Another one of my sisters who just started dating someone new is the same way. She skipped the last family get-together too. And wouldn't you know it, that suddenly became a massive problem. My mom sent this loaded message, dripping with guilt, saying she was hurt that we couldn't spare just 3 hours. Mind you, I've skipped these events for years and no one batted an eye. But now? Apparently it's a scandal. My husband, just trying to have my back, sent a calm, respectful message letting them know we wouldn't be coming. He kept it short and simple. But Brooke? She lost it. She didn't call to ask what was going on. She didn't check if something was wrong. She jumped straight into screaming mode, full volume, no warning. My husband overheard the whole thing and yeah, he snapped. He told her to go F*** herself. Was it the most mature reaction? Probably not. But honestly, after watching her push people around for years, I can't say I blame him. And now who's everyone angry with? Me. Not Brooke for yelling at me over a boundary. Not Brooke for constantly trying to drive a wedge between us and anyone we date. No, I'm the villain because someone finally called her out. I've kept her secret for over a year. I've watched everyone in this family tiptoe around her, scared of setting her off. I've stayed quiet, swallowed my frustration, kept things smooth, just to keep the peace. And for what? So she can blow up the second something doesn't go her way? Don't get me wrong, every one of us sisters has defended our partners at some point. But it never makes a difference. None of it changes her behavior. We used to be a tight-knit group. We really did. These days, everything feels brittle, like one wrong move and the whole thing shatters. We're all just worn out from carrying this secret. Worn out from pretending Brooke's opinion is the only one that counts. We're exhausted from having to tiptoe around her, like it's our job to manage her emotions. I don't even know exactly what I'm hoping to get out of saying all this. Maybe I just need to know, does anyone else out there have a sibling like this? The kind who pulls all the strings but still paints herself as the victim? I'm just done feeling like I'm the bad guy for finally standing my ground. Edit, for what it's worth, both of our parents were fully aware that we were doing the DNA test. Nobody acted worried. Nobody seemed tense or suspicious. In fact, someone even cracked a joke about finally uncovering some long-buried family drama. So either both of them already know, neither of them knows, or maybe my mom is just tired of keeping it all under wraps and hoped the truth would come out on its own. We're not out for revenge here. Telling them isn't about payback. It's just that we've all been sitting on this for a long time and it's uncomfortable. It's like holding your breath for over a year. And even though we've kept it quiet out of respect for Brooke, she's never shown us an ounce of that same respect in return. Now for the top comments I've seen. Honestly, this secret has nothing to do with her behavior. Your sister's just an A*** hole. Exactly. That's the takeaway here. The DNA stuff? It's a side note. The real issue is how she treats everyone. At this point, it might be time to go low contact, or just cut ties completely. You and your sister are letting your partners get caught in the crossfire of her toxic behavior, and that has to end. If telling the truth makes you the bad guy in everyone's eyes, then so be it. Stop sacrificing your own well-being just to keep the peace in the name of family. Because let's be honest, this isn't helping you at all. Yeah, your sister sounds like a real piece of work. But let's be clear, that has nothing to do with the secret you're all hiding. She hasn't done anything wrong when it comes to that DNA result. She didn't ask to be born with a different father. If there's any wrongdoing in this story, it lies with your mom, not her. You say you're doing Brooke a favor by keeping her secret, but really what you're doing is protecting your mother from being called out for what she did. For cheating on your dad, for hiding the truth. That's who benefits from all the silence. You can hold Brooke accountable for a lot of things: her behavior, her manipulation, the way she treats everyone. But this? Her parentage? That's not on her. And it's not fair to treat it like it is. It seems like you're mixing up your resentment. It's almost like you're holding on to this secret as a way to get even. But Brooke didn't choose how she got here. That was out of her hands. If anyone should be answering for this, it's your mom. Maybe even your dad if he knew and never told you. But putting this weight on Brooke, like she's to blame, just doesn't add up. I get that you're offering your side of things and I appreciate the perspective. But I think you might be missing the bigger picture. Like I already said in my post, none of us care that Brooke has a different biological father. Yeah, it came as a surprise, but it didn't change how we see her as our sister. Our love for her didn't shift because of that. What's hard is carrying the secret while still dealing with how Brooke treats everyone. That's been the issue long before any DNA test came into play. She's always expected us to cater to her moods. We've spent years trying not to set her off. We've let her shape the way our family functions just to avoid the drama. This isn't about who her dad is. This is about a lifelong habit of controlling people and then turning herself into the victim when someone finally says enough. We're worn out from having to constantly manage her feelings. We're exhausted from being made to feel guilty just for drawing a line. The DNA secret? That's just one more weight stacked on top of an already broken system.